everybody. Welcome to another very fun episodic installation of the Above It All program. How's it going? I hope you're having a great time, a great day. Max the dog currently sniffing. Max, what are you sniffing? What do you got? I don't know. Let's find out. There he is. He's got a tennis ball. Anyway, I hope people enjoyed last week's program. I got a program for you this week. This is Friday. What is the 28th of September. Yeah. I want to take a moment here to talk about the average American voter. We have a poll here, a collection of polls. They ask multiple questions, if you could believe it. A survey, really, is what it is. It's a survey, a quiz, possibly. A survey would imply that there is no correct answer. A quiz would imply that there is a correct answer. So I'm going to go with quiz. Because all of the questions in this morning consult quiz have correct answers. And we're going to discuss why American voters are the dumbest group of people throughout all of human history. Right? So first let's define what that means, right? What is it to be dumb? Like, wouldn't cavemen be dumb? Not really, though. Because what was the available knowledge that cavemen had access to? Did they have access to the internet? Did they have access to scientific reports? Did they have access to medicine? Did they have access to all kinds of stuff? No, they did not have access to that. So is it really fair to call them dumb? Did they have access to soap? Right? But we live in the year 2023, where the collective understanding of the world, physics, medicine, food is at an all-time high. Is it absolute? Of course not. We're still learning new things every day. But it's at an all-time high throughout all of human history. Really, with the advent of the internet and the usability and the plethora of internet-connected devices, we are at an all-time high. Is it possible that we could have a Library of Alexandria type situation, and all of the servers that make the internet go kaput, and then we just don't have the internet anymore, and then people lose access to this information? That's possible, but we're not in that world right now. So we're at an all-time high throughout all of human history. Now, unless maybe you ascribe the Library of Alexandria era as having some secret knowledge, which, hey, who knows? There's still probably stuff we don't know that they knew back then. But for the sake of argument, we're at the highest point of human understanding of the universe. And yet, the things that the average voter person in this country, the United States of America, believe are getting more and more ripped away from that reality. I made a video about this a couple of weeks ago about is it possible to bridge the gap between the divides and how people perceive basic reality? I don't think so, right? You have some people that believe that there was election interference by Hugo Chavez. Can you really, can you build a bridge there? I don't know. I really don't. But so again, there's people are really fucking stupid. Now again, Republicans are the dumbest of the dumb. They're the dumbest group within the dumbest group within the dumbest group within the dumbest group of all time, right? So this is when I say American voters are the dumbest people that have ever lived. It's because we're at the apex of the human collective scientific understanding of the world, and yet people are getting dumber. Like, they're getting less informed over time, right? Like, I personally think if you were to ask someone, an average person 10 years ago about some certain things, we might have a more reasonable, intelligent answer than we have now. So what I mean by that, again, just to be clear, all-time high of human understanding of the universe and the world around us, and what causes certain things and how cause and effect works in politics, all-time high. And yet, for some reason, people are, unlearning things. I don't know. And this poll kind of perfectly shows just how stupid people are. Now, again, I just want to say I don't like Democrats. I hate Democrats. I think Joe Biden is a horrible president. Joe Biden will go down in the history books, or at least my history book, as the guy who normalized COVID-19 and convinced Democrats and independents to join the MAGAs and hating masks and getting infected with COVID over and over and over again. That's Joe Biden's legacy. Joe Biden's legacy was taking the Donald Trump pandemic, making it 100 times worse, and then pretending it never even happened in the first place. So I think Joe Biden is a horrible person. I think the Democratic Party as a whole is horrendous, terrible, absolute shit. But the idea that Republicans are even close to anywhere better on any issue is laughably insane to me that I have to talk about this. So let's look at these charts here. Let's read their text. President Joe Biden likes to tell voters not to compare him to the Almighty. That's another problem. There is no Almighty, right? But that's a whole different story. But to the alternative. Now, what is the alternative? A motherfucker with 90 fucking criminal charges against him, right, for literally trying to destroy the United States and install himself as king. So we have Joe Biden, right, a fucking zombie who doesn't know when he is or where he is. No wonder he doesn't believe in COVID. He probably thinks it's 1973, right? So that's Joe Biden. And then Donald Trump, the guy who literally tried to install himself as king and people died in the process. I'm sorry, but the idea that Republicans are in any possible way, in any way, shape, form, right, better at all on even a single issue than Democrats is fucking insane. But okay. The latest edition of the Morning Consult's annual State of the Parties survey suggests that the approach looks riskier in 24 than in prior years, with public opinion trending in the GOP's direction since the Democratic Party took control of Washington in 2020. Now, again, I cannot possibly explain to you the depths of hatred that I have for the average American. I hate them. I hate this country. I hate the people that live here. I hate the people that answer things on these fucking polls like, well, you know, I think the Republican Party can tackle big issues. Now, like, let's go and talk about what the fuck kind of questions these are. Who do you think's more likely to tackle big issues? What the fuck does that mean? Now, again, I've said this before, but there were two polls over the course of like the last year or so that asked people, do you agree with the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood v. Casey? Most people were like, of course not. I need abortions. And then there was another poll that asked, do you think states should have the right to say what kind of abortion laws they have? And it gave examples of like blue states having abortion checks in their state law. And then that same group of people that was like, no, I hate the Supreme Court's decision, was like, hell yeah, states should have the rights. It's the same thing. They're asking the same question, right? But the numbers flip. Why? Because Americans are fucking dumb. These are dumb motherfuckers. Now, I know. I've been saying this on my show. One of the whole reasons I started the show is to talk about how much I fucking hate Americans. I hate you, America, and I hate you, Americans, unless you're one of the good ones, like me and some of the other people that are in this orbit here. Of course, right? Obviously. Right, but let's go into these. You're probably already looking at this, and you're just waiting for me to talk about each one in depth, because I will. Okay. Ahead of 2024, voters increasingly favor the GOP over the Democratic Party on key aspects of governance. Now, what's going on right now? Now, to be fair, surveys conducted August 5th to 14th, 2020, and August 29 to Sept 1, 2023, right? So that's what we're dealing with, right? So this is like, it's coming out this week or whatever, but it is data from a couple of weeks ago. But what's going on right now? Now, obviously, Americans couldn't see the future, but everyone else could, and we knew that this was going to happen. Right now, Republicans are holding At least as the time I'm recording this. I'm doing pre-tapes right now, so I'm recording this as of the moment where Republicans are holding the government hostage over some fake war that Matt Gaetz and his Freedom Caucus are trying to have a civil war with Kevin McCarthy or whatever over something, and they're threatening to shut down the government, which would affect millions of people, right? When it comes to their paychecks, when it comes to all that kind of stuff. Either people directly working in the government that are paid by the government in that instance, or people that are in these satellite instances where it's oh, well, the government's not going to be able to pay this, so this industry is going to be lesser off, so everyone in that industry, even private sector, is going to be affected by that, right? So that's what the Republicans are doing right now. So the question, who is more capable of governing? 47% Republicans, 44% Democrats. Now, I know, this was a couple weeks ago, but the writing was on the wall. And also, not even in just this government shutdown. What happened to the last government shutdown? Republicans, right? The idea. Now, again, this is a compare and contrast. Democrats are horrible, right? Democrats are horrible. But if you're going to compare them to Republicans, the idea that it's not 95 Democrats, 5 Republicans here, and that actually people think Republicans are more capable of government. It's insane. I need you. I want, if there's any mission in this show, right? I need people to understand that we are being held hostage. Right? Imagine you're in the bank and some fuckers come in with ski masks, right? And then they have Uzis, and they shot one guy in the leg, and then everyone's in the corner. That's us in this country. Except the motherfuckers with Uzis aren't trying to rob the bank. They're just regular Americans. Regular Americans are holding everyone else hostage by their own dumb fuckery, right? In what fucking universe are Republicans better or more capable of governing than Democrats? And now again, I hate Democrats. I fucking hate them, right? But the idea, we are so fucked. We'll keep the country safe. Now again, what the fuck does that mean? We'll keep the country. Now again, my problem with Morning Consult and all these other pollsters are that they ask stupid fucking questions, right? But also, the silver lining is when you ask these vague, stupid questions, you really get to learn, because it's like a Mad Libs type situation. When you ask something so vague, you're not even asking a question. You're just basically giving them a prompt to just fill in the blank on whatever the fuck they want. It's like when you're doing those fucking tests in school and it's just an open-ended prompt response, right? There's no even directioning. To keep the country safe? What the fuck does that mean? Safe from what? I want to keep the country safe, I don't know, from coronavirus, possibly, right? Maybe? Can we keep the country safe? Can we keep the country safe from wildfire smoke, making air quality just unbreathable for the entirety of this summer? Can we keep the country safe from police violence and gang violence and all other kinds of, these right-wing paramilitary groups going from city to city and harassing and trying to shoot people? Can we keep the country safe from them? Can we keep the country safe from economic collapse because people are not being paid properly? But usually when people are oh, well, who's gonna keep us safe? They're thinking about, China, launching a nuclear bomb at us or some shit. And I got news for you. If that happens, no one's keeping us safe, okay? Republicans and Democrats, no one's keeping us safe if we're in a situation where we're going to nuclear fucking war with China or Russia or some fucking shit. You dumb motherfucker. So in this incident, right, where we're in some fucking national war, some world war, the idea that Republicans are going to keep us safe is a joke. That is a fucking joke, because no one's going to keep us safe. But again, that's a fantasy scenario. We're not going to be in nuclear war anytime soon, but we're dealing with a pandemic that's disabling millions of people and killing thousands of people every week. That's happening in the real world, in the real life. We're dealing with economic collapse that's causing suicide to be at an all-time high. Did you know that, by the way? Suicide year over year is at an all-time high right now, as long as we've been tracking this stuff. More people every year are killing themselves. They're killing themselves. They're saying, I don't want to be on this world anymore because this shit is so fucking fucked up. Now again, are there some groups of people that would kill themselves no matter what? Sure. But I'm going to tell you, as someone who has tried to kill myself and thankfully failed, or unthankfully, depending on your persuasion, I can tell you that if I had access to, like, I don't know, a healthcare system, I probably wouldn't have been in that position. But we don't have healthcare for people that are suicidal in this country. Their healthcare is you go to a fucking therapist who has a big red button that can send you to fucking jail in the form of a psych ward, where they just pump you up full of drugs, don't really fix any of your problems, and then throw you out on the street so that you can kill yourself 4 days later, and then the therapist pats themselves on the back and says, well, we did all we could. That's the mental health system in this fucking country. But again, will keep our country safe is the question. 47% Republicans, 41% Democrats. So 47% of Americans think Republicans are going to keep us safe. And you expect me to play nice with these people? Like, I get some comments here that are like, you're so mean. Why do you hate? Why do you hate? Why are you so filled with hate? Have you seen the fucking state of this goddamn country? Why am I so fucking filled with hate? Have you gone out fucking side lately and seen the fucking smoke in the sky? And seen the government do fucking nothing about it? Has the government done anything about wildfire smoke? No, they just let it play its course. Like summer, the entire summer, like since like the fucking start of like June or like the late June or whatever it was. I know it was like July when we were in the thick of it. But like, there was just every day, daily volatile organic compounds leaching into the atmosphere, leaking through everyone's windows. Did the government do anything about it? No, they didn't keep us safe. Is the government going to keep us safe from mass shootings? No. Is the government going to keep us safe from another January 6th kind of takeover? No, the government has not kept us safe from anything. Let's scroll back the clock, right? 9/11. Did the government keep us safe on 9/11? No, right? They've never fucking done anything. Republicans were in power at that time, right? So the idea that the government is going to keep us safe, the idea that it's not 0% for both is just insane to me. Like, this is fucking crazy. I mean, now again, third one, can tackle the big issues. Oh boy, howdy. What the fuck does that mean, can tackle the big issues? Who can tackle the big issues? Can we get an example? What's a big issue? If you ask certain people, they'll say that transgender people being allowed to pee in public is a big issue, right? So who decides what the big issues are? What the fuck kind of question is that? Who is more capable of it? Tackling? What the fuck kind of word choice is this? So juvenile. The big issues. And then, of course, again, Republicans. They're going to tackle the big issues. Yeah. You know, like, let's say AI takeover. Republicans are going to tackle that big issue. Now, in a way, honestly, though, like, I can kind of see why Republicans would win this, right? Because when you think about the wording, can tackle the big issues. Yeah, I think Republicans will tackle the big issues, right? Like in football or whatever, right? They'll jump and run at that guy, knock him down, and then that's it. And then the guy will get back up, you know, just like in football. They'll just get back up and, like, you know, they'll pat each other on the asshole or whatever, and then they'll go back with what they were doing. Yes, I think Republicans in that way can tackle the big issues. But before I pop a goddamn gasket on that one, let's move over to is responsible. The only one where Democrats are actually in the lead by 1 fucking percentage point. Now, again, the idea that anyone thinks that Republicans are more responsible than Democrats, like, the 41% should be 0, but, like, this is another one of those, like, what the fuck does that mean kind of questions. Is responsible. And also, how is it, now, capable of governing, 47-44 Republicans, is responsible, 42-41 Democrats? Aren't those, like, the same question? Like, I mean, like, what does responsible mean? Like, I'm serious. What the fuck does that mean when it comes to politics? When it comes to people in government? What does it mean to be responsible? Well, let's look at the word, right? When you, as a person, are tasked with being responsible, what are you responsible for? Showing up to school, if you're a student, right? Showing up to work, right? If you're a parent, God, Jesus Christ, right? But if you're a parent, right, you know, like whatever, that whole thing, right? What are you responsible for? Taking care of your kids, right? So if you're in government, that's your job, right? That's work. What would you be responsible for? Showing up to work and doing your job, which would be governing in this instance, right? So being responsible and governing are the same fucking question, and yet we get 2 different results. What? It's the same fucking question. It's the same fucking question. They're asking the same thing and they get two different fucking results. How is that possible? The answer, because Americans are fucking dumb. They're dumb. People in this country are fucking dumb. Intelligent. If you were to collectively scrape up all the dog shit in this fucking country and throw it in a fucking machine that is able to, like, you know, give like dog shit to speech or some sort of thing so that we can see what the dog shit is saying, they would be saying more intelligent things than the average American, because Americans are fucking dumb. Now again, the last question is stale. Now, out of all the questions on this list, this is like the most what the fuck does that mean out of all of them, is stale. What? Are we talking about Doritos? Like, we're talking about political parties that are deciding the way that this country is being operated. We're not talking about motherfucking Frito-Lay, motherfucker. What does that mean is it's stale. So 49% of people say the Republic... Wait. I guess this is another one where Democrats are winning, technically, because stale is bad, right? So 49% of Republicans are viewed as stale. Or 49% of Americans view Republicans as stale, and only 40... So I guess that one's like a little flip on the brain. But like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, why would you even ask this question? Like, I'm just like, what does that mean? Like, which party do you think is more stale? Like, how do you even answer that? What is, like, the formula that goes through your mind? So which one is more stale? Well, you know, you see, the Democrats are, you know, they're doing that all, and the Republicans, and, you know, goddamn got some Cheetos in the back drawer, and I think, like, how do you even answer this question? If someone called me up on the phone, motherfucker, right? If someone called me up on the phone, which party do you think is more stale? You know what I would say? I would say, what the fuck does that mean? Can you tell me what the fuck you're talking about? And then they would probably say, no, that's the question, because usually they're not allowed to elaborate on prompts, because that kind of fucks up the whole poll, right? At least in my experience, whenever I've been around these polls, right? You know, so I'd be like, what the fuck does that mean? And they're like, oh, you know, just what do you feel? Like, how the fuck, who comes up with these questions? And then also, what the fuck? I don't even know. But this is just part one. In a significant reversal from the last presidential election year, U.S. voters are now more likely to see the Republican Party as capable of governing. God help us all. Keeping the country safe and tackling the big issues. Again, none of this shit means anything. Let's keep going here. Voters see Democrats as veering further from the center than Republicans. Now, this is an interesting way to ask the question, further from the center, because what the fuck does the center even mean? The center doesn't mean anything. There is no center, right? That's just some made-up fucking garbage that fucking corporate propaganda tells you. There is no center. There is no such thing as left of center, right of center, or centrist. Those do not exist, okay? That's just made-up garbage. But, okay, check this out. 47% of Americans think the Democratic Party is too liberal. Now, what the fuck does too liberal mean? I would love if they asked these dumb motherfuckers. Now, okay, you said you said that the Democratic Party is too liberal. What do you mean by that? You know, like that episode of SpongeBob where it's like the training episode. You remember that one where they pop in the VHS tape and they're trying to train you to be a Krusty Krab employee? And then one of the memes in that episode is that Patrick doesn't know how to order from the menu, right? And he's just sitting there going, duh. That's what, like, if you liberal, I guarantee you're gonna get, you're too liberal, cause like, the Green New Deal, you know, that thing that doesn't fucking exist. You know that thing that fucking AOC and Ed Markey came up with in, like, what, 2019 or something? It was just a bill. It never got passed. I don't even think it ever got voted on, right? But they're too liberal! Like, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Right now, again, if you also asked Americans, how do you feel about the child tax credit being taken away from you? They're going to go, I disagree with that. I want the child tax credit. At the same time, they're going to say Democrats are too far left. Now, again, how else do you explain any of this other than we are living in the dumbest era of dumb motherfuckers? Explain to me in any other way, in any other terms, and how this fucking shit makes any sense whatsoever. So, the Republicans, 38% to 38% from 2020 to 23. The same amount of people that think Republicans are too far right. Now, again, what has happened in between 2020 and 2023? Does anyone know? Does anyone know? Like, if I were to ask you, can you think of one major right-wing thing that's happened since 2020 and 2023? What would come to mind? I don't know, January 6th? You know, them trying to overthrow the United States government and install a king. Install a king. Donald Trump, the guy in lead of the Republican primary, he wants to suspend the Constitution to give himself unlimited power. He wants to make himself king of the United States. That happened. That's been happening. He's been saying this shit for years now. And it's not budged. This is a joke, right? Like, this is a fucking joke, right? This is a joke. This is like if like Ashton Kutcher were to come out from apologizing for Danny Masterson's rape charges, right? Jump through the fucking window with the camera and punk me, I'd be like, oh fuck, you got me, right? Because this has to be a joke. You're telling me January 6th happens, the attempt to install Donald Trump as a king happens, right? Multiple years of Republican outrage machine going. And the number of people in this country that go, well, Republicans are a little too far right, has unchanged. What? But wait, guys, everyone, check this out. The number from not conservative enough has gone up. 15 to 16. So Americans are looking at January 6th, they're looking at an attempted genocide of minority groups, they're looking at all this fucking shit, and they're thinking, not enough. And then even more of them are thinking, you know what? The whole January 6th trying to overthrow the United States, suspend the Constitution, and install a dictator and king, that's appropriately conservative. I don't know how to end this. I really don't. I mean, what do you do? I'm just curious. Like, what is a person in this environment supposed to do? Like, what am I, somebody reading this stuff, right? What am I supposed to do about this? Like, other than buy a shitload of canned food and hide in my basement for the incoming apocalypse. Like, can we change this? Is this possible to change? Is it possible to break through to enough Americans in order for, like, the whole country to have, like, a discourse change or shift? What the fuck? What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? I'm serious. Democrats, in this, according to this, are viewed as more extreme than Republicans. The party that is literally as milquetoast as you can possibly get, that does nothing at all. What have the Democrats done since getting into office? They did a couple decent things at the start and then got away with all of them, and now we're pretty much worse where we started. Right? They've done nothing, basically. What have Republicans done since 2020? They tried to suspend the Constitution, destroy the Constitution, and install a king. You know who's more extreme? The Democrats. Max, you have ears. Alright, everybody. The cucks in Congress have spoken. And if you can't see part of this headline, it's because I am a bad producer. Senate unanimously passes resolution to reinstate formal dress code after Senator John Fetterman controversy. Now, I just want to say, you might not know what unanimous consent is, but it's basically no one, it's, if you have a problem with this legislation, let us know. Oh, no one has a problem. Therefore, it goes in technically without a vote, kind of, but they're voting by not voting. It's just basically, it's just like the fast forward button. If they're all going to pass something, they already know they're going to pass it. They don't need to do all the fucking pretend debate, blah, blah, blah. A lot of them don't even need to show up, right? And this is a big fat L. I'm going to say this is a gigantic L for the Democrats. I'm going to say this because watching Republicans melt down about the dress code in a lot of ways made Republicans seem unpopular, made them seem elitist. You had Republicans literally clutching their pearls. Oh my dear heavens, the establishment is being made fun of. This God given establishment that we are all serving is being mocked and ridiculed, right? So you had like an easy W on your hands, right? Make fun of these Republicans that are addicted to their pretending to be serious, like, oh, look at me, I'm wearing a suit, therefore I am a very serious person. If you're Bob Menendez, you got cash money in your suit, right? So, but this whole thing, this saga, I think last week I covered this article about how John Fetterman wearing a hoodie is like the downfall of America or some shit, right? Like, honestly, the idea that no Democrat understood how much of a gift this was to them in terms of like just making Republicans look fucking stupid, to me, it's a big fat L. So, is this an end of an era? If I were John Fetterman, I would keep dressing like a fucking piece of shit. Why? Because it fucking triggers them. And it's even better if it's against the rules. Let's think about it this way. Like, I'd rather wear a hoodie when it's against the rules than wear a hoodie when it is in congruence with the rules. So, I'm just throwing that out there. Let's read a little bit. The Senate unanimously passed a resolution late Wednesday formalizing business attire as the proper dress code while on the floor of the chamber, following bipartisan backlash after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer quietly relaxed dress requirements last week that allowed John Fetterman to continue to wear hooded sweatshirts and gym shorts. The bipartisan bill by Joe Manchin and Mitt Romney. Like, that's how you know we're all fucked. Is Joe Manchin and Mitt Romney are teaming up on this fucking shit. Like, that's how you know this bill is trash, right? Out of my ass, right? You got fucking Joe Manchin and Mitt Romney. The new written rules include a coat, tie, and slacks for men. The resolution does not detail dress codes for women members. Isn't that a little sexist? Isn't that a little, like, hey, I'm just throwing it out there. I think it's sexist. I personally think that that's fucked up. But anyway, this whole thing is really dumb. Obviously the dress code thing is just really stupid. But so here's John Fetterman memeing, as per usual. By the way, did you know Kevin James was like a QAnoner? Did you know that? Like, I just found this out like recently. Apparently he's like doing like QAnon like stuff. That's a whole different story. But, there you go. I think this whole thing is dumb, and it's an L from the Democrats, honestly. Like, let Republicans continue to talk about how triggered they are that someone won't wear a suit and tie, because, again, that's helpful. In a country where people think that Republicans are less extreme than Democrats, like the average voter is so fucking stupid they think Democrats are more extreme than Republicans, right? This would be a good thing that you can use to kind of flip that perception. But hey, Americans are stupid. That includes the politicians. And I'm just throwing an L on Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders could have stood up and said, hey, he seems to be the most intelligent member of the Senate. Hey, where was he on this one? I'm just throwing it out there, just everything's gotta be about Bernie, where I'm from. But anyway, there you go. I don't know who this person is. Cynthia Loomis. Like, goddamn, she looks like she's straight out of Halloween, like last name not necessarily even a part of it, but like, what the fuck? Holy shit, like we got a one single bag here, and then this is like a double bag type situation, right? Like, what you see this, like, this line starts here and then it turns into multiple. Like, bitch, get some fucking sleep. Am I right, people? Anyway, that's all I got. All right, everybody, I got a video to share with you, and I don't even know how to introduce this one. It stars everyone's, there's kind of like, there's some fucking subtitles on here that kind of spoil what the video is, so I'm going to guide a frame here. So we have everyone's favorite fascist, Bibi Netanyahu, going out and doing like a speech. I don't know if someone asked him about Hitler or if he just like felt it with like a bubbling deep sensation within him, like a geyser coming out from the earth, like to just mention Adolf Hitler, right? So what is the leader of Israel, the so-called Jewish state, what are they going to say about Adolf Hitler? Does anyone remember what happened in Germany in that 1940s kind of time period? Does anyone know? Well, let's see, because if anyone knows, right? If anyone knows, has any sort of information on what was going on, right, in 1940s Germany, it would be the leader of Israel, a country that only exists because of 1940s Germany, right? So I should say, because of the actions of 1940s Germany. But anyway, let's just jump right in.
Hitler didn't want to exterminate the Jews at the time. He wanted to expel the Jews. And Haj Amin al-Husseini went to Hitler and said, if you expel them, they'll all come here. So what should I do with them? He asked. He said, burn them.
Okay. Now, again, this is the leader of Israel dabbling in Holocaust trutherism. Like, no, man, it's like Hitler, he's like secretly a really good guy, but it's like he didn't want to deal with Jewish people in his country, but he's such a good guy, he didn't want to kill them, right? It's like, he wanted to do the most peaceful way, to, I don't know, get an entire people to leave your borders in a peaceful way. Yeah, because that's inherently fucking peaceful, right? And really, it's not, like, Hitler's not the bad guy here. Right, it's the Muslims. They've always been the bad guys, right? Like, that's basically what this is. So what he's trying to do here is he's trying to, like, shore up that it's like, it's an alteration of history, because fascists love like this like historical greatness that's often never true. And of course, Israel, what is Israel? It's the modern day Nazi Germany. Israel today, in a lot of ways, is worse than Nazi Germany was. How? Why would I say that? Well, it's been doing atrocities for a significantly longer period of time, and the entire world covers up their crimes. Whereas Germany was doing crimes for about a decade, and then, the world was covering up their crimes, and then World War II happened, all of a sudden, oh wait, that's bad actually, whereas Israel's been doing this kind of shit for decades. They've been doing decades of apartheid, genocide, murder, all this kind of stuff that the Nazis would be, I would make a sexual joke here, but that's not necessarily, appropriate, but they would be extremely happy with what Israel is doing nowadays. Honestly, I'm just saying. So what this is doing, it's a double-edged thing that Netanyahu's doing. One, he's trying to make Hitler seem like less of a bad guy. Why? Because of the things that I'm saying. Netanyahu knows that Israel is the modern-day descendant of Nazi Germany. Everything Nazi Germany was doing, Israel is doing even better, higher technology, higher efficiency, more cloaking in the world stage. No one's allowed to talk negatively about Israel, otherwise they're anti-Semitic. Yes, being against genocide makes you hateful of Jewish people, because committing a genocide against Muslims is inherent to Judaism, I guess. So if you don't like genocide, then you don't like Jews. That's what they're saying. I didn't say that. That's what they're saying. So simultaneously, they're trying to make Hitler's crimes seem less bad, right? Because that's what they're fucking doing. They're doing the same shit. Well, also, again, creating this, like, historical enemy, right? You know, in the same way that Adolf Hitler did with Jewish people, they're doing it with Muslims, right? The Muslims have always been the problem. I mean, yeah, like, were they really a problem? No, but they've always been the problem. Does history kind of show that? Not really, but we have to put it in there, right? So, again, he's trying to go back in history to plant some historical idea, because people know that Hitler's a bad guy. They know that, you know, they might not know why, you know, a lot of the literacy rates in a lot of these countries, they don't really know much about Hitler nowadays, but hey, they know he's a bad guy. So they're saying, who really? Hitler was a puppet, and he was a puppet of the Muslims, and that's why we gotta go into the fucking whatever, and we gotta fucking eradicate them, steal all their homes, and throw them off the border, right? So again, this is all like an elaborate way to just kind of like, yeah, Hitler's crimes, not necessarily that bad, but they're also bad, but they're only bad because the Muslims told them to do it, but they're not that bad, but they're pretty bad, but the Muslims, and we hate Muslims because we're Jewish, and Jewish people hate Muslims because religion is very, like, that's just, I love religion, I guess. I don't know, man. You ask me, I think all of these people are fucking stupid. Muslims are fucking stupid. Jewish people are fucking stupid. They're all fucking stupid. Anyone who's going to go to war over a rock is fucking dumb. Now, I get it. It's your homeland, right? I'm down to go to war over your homeland. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But this idea that like, oh, Jewish people deserve to be there because they're home, like they were kicked out like fucking thousands of years ago or whatever the fuck. I'm sorry, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe it could have come with a peaceful solution, right? Outside of that, like if two people, right, and two people are extremely dedicated, like, yes, this is our homeland. You were here yesterday. I was here, you know, I guess, you know, my great grandfather was here, like, you know, and those are equivalent, and we're not going to do a peaceful solution. We have to kill each other. I don't know. That sounds like mental illness to me, right? Like a peaceful solution, always possible in this instance, but for, again, religion makes people think that, oh, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. And again, it's a rock. Like if it's a house you grew up in or whatever, like it's the neighborhood you grew up in and it means a lot to you because you spent your formative years there, that's a whole different story, right? Like again, what's going on with like Ukraine and Russia. I don't mind people fighting to defend their homeland. That's fine to me. But this idea that's like, oh yeah, my great grandfather used to live here, so I'm just gonna murder you and your entire family. And I don't know, man. That's just weird to me. But call me crazy. Call me crazy. I'm not the one defending Hitler, right? So if that's crazy, I'm willing to be the crazy one. The non-Hitler defender is here to log on and to say that Hitler actually not a great guy, and the Muslims are not the most evil thing in the world. Now again, Muslim is Islam a stupid fucking religion? Yes. Is it dumber than Judaism? No, they're equally fucking dumb. Honestly, in a lot of ways, Judaism is even dumber, right? Because it's older, it's had a lot more time to cook, right? So it's got a lot more stupid ass shit in it, right? You know, at least the Muslims were doing really good stuff with math, you know? Like, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just kidding. But again, all these religions are fucking stupid. Religion has no place in the 21st century, and this kind of stuff just seems more and more ridiculous every day that goes by. But there's a lot of left-wingers out there that love to pretend that religion is acceptable. Oh, you should be allowed to practice. Like, whatever. You can be allowed to believe in whatever stupid shit. But this idea that it should be encouraged, like, oh, you believe in a sky fairy that you have to, like, roll out a carpet 7 times a day to pray to, otherwise, like, fucking hell will rain on earth or some shit. Like, I don't know, that sounds like a mental illness to me. Now again, I say that I don't have a problem with if you have a mental illness, that's fine. And in fact, honestly, the term mental illness is a societal construct. Like, who determines what's a mental illness? Doctors who are funded by the government, who are funded by private industry. So they're going to determine anyone who's unuseful to society as having a mental illness. That's why if you have bipolar disorder, you have a mental illness. But if you believe in God, you don't have a mental illness, because belief in God is good for the social hierarchy. So it's not a mental illness, even though it's clearly like you believe in God, you believe in fucking Jesus Christ. Like, that is the textbook definition of mental illness. But hey, I'm going off on a tangent here. Anyway, this is why religion is dumb. Exhibit number 7505. seemingly, this is a clip that aired on television. This is a Fox News clip where they went to, I guess they went to Seattle, I suppose, somewhere like that. And was trying to interview residents about the crime wave. This has been a Republican thing. Crime everywhere. There's crime. Whenever you look outside, what do you see? Crime! When you're walking through the streets, what do you see? Crime! It's everywhere. Right? It's like fucking, I don't know. It's like something with a lot of crime. Anyway, they're trying to convince you that crime is literally everywhere. You can't stop seeing crime. That's because they're on the internet, right? And what's on the internet, you can see anything you want. Algorithms will show you anything that you even have a desire for. And guess what? Nationally speaking, in a country with hundreds of millions of people, and also in a country where time exists and time can move in multiple directions, right? So people can commit a crime, and then there can be a video of that crime, and then that video can circulate 7 years later, and people don't even fact check it, so they'll just see a bunch of videos about crime, not knowing that it's just like 5 incidents that took place over 10 years, and then they'll assume it happens like every 5 minutes or something, right? So, but that's not important right now. What's important is this is a really funny ass clip, so I just want to jump right in. The fact that this was aired on Fox News, like they didn't they didn't can this segment, I'm honestly impressed. So shout outs to these guys for going through with it. But let's check this out.
Jesse sent Johnny to the progressive hellscape where residents mocked the idea that the city is spiraling out of control.
So the progressive hellscape, like what does that even mean? Like that's the thing, I've been mentioning how we live in a world where there's multiple different realities. Like people just live in different, you have your news bubble online, you have your social bubbles in person. No one really goes out of their bubbles really. And for better or for worse, there's a lot of good instances, things that have come out about not leaving your bubble, but I think it's mostly bad. But anyway, so people live in this world where anything progressive is like hell, associated with Satan or some shit because they're religious and religious people are stupid. So I guess they're showing this because they think, oh, look at these crazy lefties. But again, let's just keep going here. And also crime and drugs are now expectations in dem cities. But on the B-roll, it's just showing a bunch of tents. Where's the crime? Okay, so there's crime and drugs. Where's the crime? Where's the drugs? Let's find out.
I've never seen any crime in Seattle. I've never seen any of it. I've seen fun and laughter and fun.
I don't believe that number.
People, they're, getting robbed out here, carjacked.
I've never heard of anyone getting robbed.
Crime is a social issue that could be solved by giving people their basic needs.
It's not a thing that happens just on the street. People don't just come up and try to rob people on the street. Do you walk around every day someone's going to rob me every second?
Seattle decriminalized drug use, and then they criminalized it again.
Oh my God, who are you getting these facts from? You're from New York. Apparently you're listening to the wrong people.
I saw a lot of people shooting up on my way down here.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So, okay, real quick, I just want to pause it here. So, now, did Seattle recriminalize drugs? I don't know. I don't live there. That sounds dumb if they did. So, okay, so Seattle decriminalized drugs, but then they recriminalized them, and you saw someone shoot up, allegedly, right? I don't believe that. And that's equivalent to robbery? Right, like you go in talking about robbery, and then, oh, but I saw someone shoot up on the way here. What's the fuck? Okay, great. I'm happy for you. Okay, awesome. What the fuck does that have to do with robbery? But also, aside from not wearing a mask in a pandemic, this person is pretty awesome. So I just want to start this this interaction over again because it's pretty legendary.
Who are you getting these facts from? You're from New York. Apparently you're listening to the wrong people.
I saw a lot of people shooting up on my way down here.
Oh, did you? Okay. And they were bothering you?
I was in a car, but, people...
Oh, no, you're in a car. Oh, no, they were hurting you so bad. Oh, no.
Jesse sent...
Okay. I can't believe this motherfucker literally said I was in a car. Were they bothering you? I was in a car. So in other words, you just got triggered. In other words, you're a little whiny baby ass snowflake bitch and you saw someone have a good time and you got triggered as a result. You're like, how dare they have fun? They're homeless. They're supposed to be miserable 24/7. And hey, maybe we don't even know their situation. Maybe they're really addicted to drugs and they're still miserable right now. So why would you be triggered that someone you claim is miserable all the time is currently being miserable? Like, where's the trigger? I don't understand. Is it because you think the drugs are evil, and if you do a drug that it's like Satan is gonna pop out of the ground, you know, or some shit, like it's fucking like Castlevania or some shit? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But also, I'm shocked that they aired this. Like, I mean, they just got pwned epic style, right? Like, this guy is like, no, I was in a car and I just got triggered. And then they're like, do they have a humiliation fetish? Like, why would they post this on prime time or whatever? I don't know. I'm just seeing prime time here. But maybe that's just like an advertisement for prime time, which is later. I'm not sure. But it looks like it's prime time. Look, Jesse Waters, prime time. I can't figure it out. This is clearly not Jesse Waters, though. This is the drunk bitch, I think. But anyway, I don't know, man. Like, I thought that this was really funny. But like, yes, is crime a thing? Does crime exist? Absolutely. But this idea that crime is so rampant that like everyone is dealing with it all the time. And also, think about, how do we solve crime? We just, I don't know, increase public funding, right? We give people more of their basic necessities so there'll be less crimes of despair. Which, what are crimes of despair? They make up the largest chunk of the pie when it comes to the crimes. So you get rid of crimes of despair, that's most crimes out of the way to begin with. You decriminalize drugs and you regulate them so that people can safely inject things that they know what it is instead of being laced with fentanyl and then dying, which is just, in other words, being poisoned. They got poisoned to death. There's no such thing as a fentanyl overdose. I mean, you know, I'm open to the idea that someone could do fentanyl recreationally and overshoot it. I'm open to that. But most of the time when you see fentanyl overdose, what really you're seeing is poisoning. They were poisoned to death. They were murdered, right? And how do you fix that? I don't know. Regulate the motherfucking drugs so that they can get it, and it's a safe one that they know what they're putting into their body, right? So that's one way to do it. But again, okay, you increase public funding, you get rid of crimes of despair. Are there still going to be crimes? Is there going to be some part of the human population, some percentage that's just they're like the fucked up freaks, you know? Is that possible? Yes, but you know what? It's going to be a lot easier to deal with that problem when we actually have the real numbers, right? Because we can't just treat everyone who's ever committed any crime like they're a fucking, like, you know, serial killer who's like 17 kill streak or whatever, you know? Like, if we got rid of all the fake criminals, you know, and just made sure that stuff doesn't happen, it'd be a lot easier to identify what the problems are that cause the other kinds of crimes, not the crimes of despair, the crimes of, like, you know, a lot of the, and what is another giant chunk of crimes? Like crimes of passion, like revenge, like, oh, you know, someone did this to me, so I'm gonna fucking slash their tires, and then, you know, that's a crime, right? Someone did so I didn't get a promotion, so I'm gonna go like fucking throw this thing at my boss's window or something. You know, like crimes of passion. How do we deal with crimes of passion? Well, I don't, you know, we can come up with that kind of decision. I got a couple ideas. Maybe we don't live in such a hyper-competitive society. Maybe we focus on emotional learning in schools instead of, you know, like toxic traits such as hyper-competition, such as everyone's got to be better than everyone else, such as like you're always competing with all of your peers at all times, right? Like maybe we could do other ways to decondition people from committing crimes of passion. But then again, you got the fucked up freaks. What do? Hey, we can brainstorm, we can spitball, but what I'm saying is it would be a lot easier to solve those problems, that problem specifically, if we solved all the other problems that we already have the solutions for. Right? You know, it's like you gotta repair your roof. Like, is it easier to repair the roof where if you know where the leak is, or if you have no idea where the leak is and you're just like, you just rip the whole roof off looking for the leak? If you know where the leak is, it's a lot easier to fucking fix the problem, right? So again, that's my philosophy here. But I'm shocked that they aired this. I'm shocked that this was allowed on television. I thought it was pretty funny. But there you go. That's Fox News. A little bit of humor in the show. People tell me that you know, gotta be funny. So honk honk and all right, everybody, it's time for my favorite part of the day, and that's where we talk about Donald Trump, everybody's favorite orange man, getting found fraudulent in New York. Donald Trump faces potential financial losses after civil fraud trial ruling. So, again, I think Donald Trump is currently facing somewhere around 7,515 different lawsuits, some criminal, some civil, and this one finally cashed in. And not good for old Donny Boy if we're in New York. So, judge's order took away business certificates for some Trump-controlled firms. And this doesn't just affect Donald Trump. This affects his family. This affects the Trump empire in New York. So, let's read. A New York judge ordered the cancellation of the business certificates for firms in the state owned by former President Donald Trump and others associated with the Trump Organization, casting into doubt the future of the private sector empire on which Trump has built his reputation for business acumen. Yeah, he's fucked when it comes to the state of New York, and also his ego. There's people are wondering, is Trump Tower going to be going? Maybe. I mean, it's possible, he can have, a shell company or a friend or whatever buy it and save it and hold on to it or sell it back to him for $1 or some kind of... There's all kinds of shenanigans, but hey, if Trump Tower goes gonzo, I'm here to see it. I say let's not repurpose that bitch. I say tear that son of a bitch down just for fun, just to make a national show out of it, It's like 9/11 again, but, in the good way, I'm down. Let's just do it, It's like that, that method of, therapy where you, reclaim your trauma, where it's you close your eyes and in your head you're back where you were traumatized, and then you spin it, you grab the person's wrist and you flip them around like you're John Wick or something, and then that helps you process the trauma. We got to do that for 9/11, because motherfuckers won't shut the fuck up about it. That happened 30 years ago or whatever, and they won't shut the fuck up. Never forget, never forget, never forget. Bitch, only 3,000 motherfuckers died. We have 3,000 people die every couple weeks in this fucking country from COVID, but never forget, where's that anyway? So I say we need to do some cool trauma therapy on 9/11. Let's just recreationally crash a plane. Hey, maybe we can put a certain orange man somewhere and allegedly near the plane, crash a plane into Trump Tower just for fun, reclaim the trauma. That's a sidebar. Let's get back to the article. All right. The directive came as part of a pre-trial ruling in a $250 million civil fraud trial that found Trump had submitted fraudulent valuations for assets that were used by himself, his eldest sons, and his business to obtain better loan and insurance terms. So basically what he would do is... what's your net worth? Oh, my net worth is so high. Check this apartment. It's got 7,000 square footage, and it's got gold plated, floor paneling, and it's such a great apartment. It's so luxurious, right? And then he would get a great loan. He'd get people would write a glowing article about him. And then when it comes to paying taxes, the tax man's coming. They go to the same apartment. Well, as you can see, we got asbestos in the walls, don't go to the kitchen, and then, imagine it's a cartoon or whatever, the camera pans to the kitchen, and there's, cockroaches coming out of the sink, we got a leaky, faucet, and it flooded the whole apartment, when I was gone, one weekend, and so we have water damage and asbestos, and we have a bug problem, and as you can see, my valuation is very low. So, and when you get a low valuation for the tax man, what happens? You pay a lower amount of money overall. So he'd be saying, I got this great ass fucking shit, come look at it, it's literally the best thing you've ever seen, to everyone else. To the tax man, he'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about, this is I'm literally in poverty right now, can you believe this shit, right? So obviously I'm being a little hyperbolic, but that's basically the strategy he used. In a scathing order on Tuesday, Judge Arthur N. Goron cited false and misleading square footage of Trump's Fifth Avenue apartment, among other faulty evaluations, among other tactics. Eric Trump, shout out, who runs the Trump Organization's day-to-day operations, responded on X, previously known as Twitter. Can these websites just say responded on Twitter? Come on, can we stop doing this whole song and dance, just play this delusion that this billionaire rid of Twitter? Come on, we all know this is a fucking joke. Anyway, saying, "Today I lost all faith in the New York legal system. Never before have I seen such hatred toward any one person by a judge." Eric Trump. I mean, it's not just one person. Like, you're also under fire here because it's your organization. Apparently, you're also fucked. So it's not one person; it's people. It's the Klan. Motherfuckers. "We have run an exceptional company, never missing a loan payment, making banks hundreds of millions of dollars, developing some of the most iconic assets in the world. Yet today, the persecution of our family continues." He said, "The persecution of our family." I love this, the victim complex. These motherfuckers were riding high their entire lives, and now they're finally being held accountable for the crimes that they committed, and now it's persecution. Our families being attacked. Not to mention all the fucking families that were under attack when these motherfuckers were in the White House. But that's just all, or all the motherfuckers that tried to live at Trump properties that were black and got denied because they were black. There's a lot of victims of the Trump family. But hey, no, it's all him. Him and his family being persecuted. Trump attorney Alina Habba said Tuesday that Trump plans to immediately appeal what she called the judge's fundamentally flawed decision. In addition, Trump could seek blah, blah, blah. Which businesses are affected? The ruling on Tuesday took business certificates away from New York-based companies under the control of key Trump organization figures, effectively stopping such firms from doing business in the state. I've heard people describe this as the corporate death penalty in the state of New York. So again, it's not national. This does not apply to his international affairs, his other state affairs. It's in the state of New York, to my understanding. The order to cancel business certificates applies to any firm controlled or owned by Donald Trump and his sons, Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, as well as former Trump organization officials Alan Weisselberg and Jeffrey McCarthy. I keep wanting to say Erdogan. Goran, this motherfucker's name, said, gotta scratch my eyeball, it's just part of the fucking job, yeah. That could mean the end of operations for iconic Trump properties such as Trump Tower, located in, again, I have a solution for Trump Tower. We can crowdfund a way to reclaim our 9/11 trauma on that one. I'm not even joking either. I think that would do wonders for the city. Anyway, located in Midtown Manhattan, Trump National Golf Course in Westchester County, and the Trump Building, a 927-foot tall commercial tower on Wall Street. So there's the Trump Tower and then the Trump Building. I mean, what the fuck? I didn't know about the Trump Building. What is the Trump Building, and how is it different than Trump Tower? Why do you have two? I don't know. Taken together, the businesses employ hundreds of people and make up a significant portion, blah, blah, blah. What will happen within 10 days of the ruling? The parties to the lawsuit must recommend at least 3 potential receivers to manage the dissolution of the canceled LLCs, Engoron said, referring to the businesses owned or controlled by the key individuals. The process could result in the forced closure of the entities and the potential sale of their underlying assets. So, Trump's fucked in New York. This is just one of the dominoes falling, so I thought that this was enjoyable. Personally, again, one of the rare things that I have any emotional stake in when it comes to politicians and electoral politics is honestly the downfall of Donald Trump. I'm here for it. I'm here to suck up every little bit of this. If Donald Trump goes on the live trial, that's probably going to happen. I'm going to live stream that shit. I'm here for the downfall of Trump. But also, I'm also here for the, crowning of Trump, because it's possible Trump wins in the next election. As unlikely as I think it is, and I do think it's unlikely. I think it's even less likely than 2020. But Republicans have taken over a lot of state legislatures. They're fucking around in a lot of the states. So who knows? They might have shenanigans this time around that they didn't have last time around. There's all kinds of things we got to be afraid of. So again, I'm here to follow the Trump stuff. I think it's important. A lot of people, they roll their eyes at this, but no, it is important. This is a guy, the leader of the current fascist party of the country, and he controls a sizable population in the country. About 15% of people are in his cult. They believe everything he says. About 15% of Americans, they believe everything he says. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy, right? So that's millions and millions of motherfuckers. So regardless of how silly, funny, stupid, whatever you think the Orange Man is, I think that this is something important to talk about. as far as electoralism goes. But anyway, there you go. Orange man bad, etc. All that kind of good stuff. And boom, that's all I got. Oh! I didn't see you there. Welcome to the end of the Above It All show. This is 1857. I hope you enjoyed. This is the second show in this new format that I'm doing. And a lot of people have responded to the previous show I did, and I want to clear up some maybe potential miscommunication. So a couple of people have accused me of hating my audience, and I would like to respond to that. And the answer is yes, the rumors are true. I hate my audience, but not my entire audience, just some components of my audience. But that is not why I'm not doing live streams for a while. To be honest with you, I am burnt out on live streaming. I'm burnt out from talking to people all the time. I'm burnt out from pretending to be happy all the time. This is something that's a lot more manageable for me. And to be honest with you, part of it is I don't want to deal with really stupid motherfuckers coming into my stream, which happens all the time. And I don't feel like dealing with it right now. I want to focus on the material, and I want to spend some time away from the noise. Because I have determined that being in this in the noise machine that I call doing like a semi-daily live stream, it changes the way I think in a lot of ways. It changes how I perceive things. It changes how I present things. It changes what I pay attention to. And I want to take a break from that. And I have the ability to do so. I have an audience that's willing to let me have fun here. And you know, for the most part. So there's a couple people, I know they're disappointed. I get it, I know. But you don't have to turn it into some like grandiose persecution complex like you're a fucking member of the Trump family. And, you know, just calm down. Let me do my thing. That said, I know I've been teasing this throughout the last, year, the whole year. But I do have a lot of projects that I'm working on. And I have been spending the last couple of months focusing on that. And one of those projects is just my own sanity, which has been a lot harder to maintain, given the fact, to be honest with you, given the fact that the entire world is pretending like the pandemic magically disappeared. Everybody I've ever spoken to in the last couple of months has been sick, except for me. Everyone I see on social media has been sick. Every YouTuber I watch has been sick. And nobody is talking about the obvious. All these left-wingers are... I don't know. I personally, I can't respect them anymore. I really can't. So where does that leave me in this like weird space that I've kind of put myself in? I've carved my own little slot out of. Where does that leave me? I don't know. I want to be a show that challenges you. I will not placate my audience. So I know a lot of, if not most, if not every other left-winger in this space, placates their audience. I don't. I challenge my audience. If you don't like the challenge, leave. If you can't deal with it, leave. If you don't like reality, that's fine. Go watch someone else. There's plenty of people out there that will sell you whatever you want to hear. That's not my position. My position is to be someone on the cutting edge, to challenge the way you think, to not placate you. I want every time you watch this show to either learn something new or consider a new perspective. Those are my number one and number two goals. Learn something or just consider an alternate perspective. That doesn't mean you necessarily have to agree with everything I say. I don't want that. I do in the long term, but that's not. We don't get there in the short term by explicitly stating that. So I should probably cut that part out. But that's a lot of work, so I'm not going to do that. But again, I'm here to challenge you. This is not something. I want people to watch my show, not to be comforted. I want people to watch my show because they want to be challenged. And that is a fundamental aspect of my show that I have realized I want to be a more major aspect as of the last few months. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this format. It allows me to have more time to think through things before I talk about them. I have more time to do editing if I want. I can do a little bit more creative stuff. and Max is woofing. So it means the show's over. It means I gotta go. Thank you for watching and enjoy the outro.